So this is a great clip of Sebastian Gorka talking to Neil Oliver on GB News. Sebastian Gorka is a Donald Trump advisor, and Neil Oliver is a presenter on GB News in the UK, and he's pretty hostile to Israel. I would even say there's been some nod and winks to people who are in the anti-Semitic camp, people like Candace Owens and others, Holocaust deniers. He seems to very much lean into the conspiracy theory tribe. And here is Sebastian Gorka spitting facts and dropping truth bombs about Israel's bid to destroy Hamas, which Neil Oliver is suspect of. He thinks, oh, well, isn't all war bad? You know, that lazy argument that just says, well, I don't want any fighting. Sorry, sometimes to get rid of terrorists and evil threats, you have to fight. Here is Sebastian Gorka setting out Israel's case clearly and powerfully to Mr. Oliver. Have a watch.
These endless forever wars. Is the rising tide from the populace in countries around the world not that we've had enough of this push for endless war?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, to quote Trotsky, you may not be interested in a war, but war's interested in you. You can't just say, ooh, I don't like it, I'm going to say la, 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 and I don't want war. And to the point about what happened in Israel, I strongly commend, and Neil, please don't, just say that's all a conspiracy theory. I've seen the unedited videos of what Hamas did, and it's horrific. The charred babies, you may not have live video of them being burnt, but I've seen the aftermath. I've seen a father being beheaded with a garden hoe as the Hamas resistance, quote unquote, were laughing. I've seen young IDF women hiding under a desk being shot to death as the Hamas resistance fighters, quote unquote, are chuckling to themselves. So, it is absolutely horrific and should be dealt with as such. But to your point, we need leadership back in the White House. Why was it? It's so fascinating that for 4 years there were no new wars. Putin didn't do anything. The Middle East was stable. We had the Abraham Accords with 5 different nations because people respected America and feared my boss. When Biden came in, he surrendered Afghanistan. Putin revved his guys right into Ukraine, and then Hamas kills more Jews since the Holocaust. I mean, this is the reality. Everybody laughs at this man, and we need, I agree, no more wars, but the only way to get that is to get President Trump back in the White House.
Isn't it right, though, to acknowledge that atrocity is atrocity? You know, that everything that has happened in the Middle East these months past, everything from October the 7th, and then what is happening in Gaza, isn't it possible to be offended by both and to say that with 100,000 casualties in Gaza, 30,000 dead and the rest wounded, missing, that enough is enough?
No, because that's not how wars end. You don't say, I don't like it. I mean, how did World War II work out? We didn't say proportionality, and we're only going to kill as many Germans as they killed Brits.
Also, why doesn't he acknowledge how many of those 30,000 are Hamas? Because it's well over half, it seems. Why? He should be commending that, if anything. Israel achieving their war aims.
No, we didn't say, oops, we don't like war, can you end it? No, we absolutely destroyed Germany and we nuked Japan. This idea of proportionality is asinine. When you're killing children and raping women after you killed them, then you must salt the earth with the ashes of those who did it. And there will be collateral, because that's the nation of war since man first picked up a rock and hit his enemy in the head with it. So we need to be realistic. War is the history of mankind, and we need people who will prevent it by being determined in the protection of their nation. And Israel has every right to make sure this never happens again to them.
With no limits on what happens. You know, the
International
Court of Justice has said plausible case to be made for genocide in Gaza. Now, surely when genocide is being invoked, surely enough is enough.
That organization is a tool of the globalists. The International Criminal Court. Are you kidding me? And the statistics from the Hamas Ministry of Health, come on. These are the guys who actually put rocket launchers in.
By the way, it now turns out the ICC head has been accused of rape, and he used the whole Netanyahu arrest warrants as a way of diverting attention. And he allegedly told the rape victim, keep quiet because otherwise the Palestinians are going to suffer. And it was all a contrived concoction to avoid his accountability for his personal misdemeanors.
Hospitals. These are the people who hide their armories in the schools of Gaza. And we're supposed to trust those figures? No, let's be realistic. We want the fighting to stop. President Trump wants it to stop, but it's not going to stop by wishing it to stop or by calling one side genocidal when they have more lawyers preventing them from doing what they could do than any other army in the world. And I mean the IDF. I know the IDF very well, and they are very, very circumspect about international laws of war. Unlike the people who they're fighting, who think children are a target that is absolutely justified.
Clearly, there is no sign of the heat going out of this febrile atmosphere. Thank you for your comments this evening.
I really find Neil's thinking just bizarre, to be honest. Saying, oh, come on, what are you saying? There's no limit. There's no limit. Well, ultimately, the limit is going to be for as long as we need to fight to deal with the aggressor, we will continue to fight. Why does he find that objectionable? Well, there's going to be so much suffering. Well, then what? So Israel should just surrender to people trying to terrorize them and destroy them? The definition of war versus genocide is not about how many numbers are killed. It's not even about what percentage of the population is killed. It is about intent. And it's also about tactics. If Israel were to go in there and say, we wish to indiscriminately kill every single man, woman, and child simply because we wish to, that's genocide. Well, there's only one party that did that. And it's not Israel, it's Hamas. Hamas goes into Israel and they indiscriminately target every man, woman, and child. They're the ones who wanted genocide. Now, you may say they killed less than Israel's killed since, which is a grotesque comparison or way of making moral decisions and moral judgments. But do you see how the numbers game is irrelevant? Hamas are the genociders. Israel has shown more military precision in terms of combatant to non-combatant killed in the history of modern urban warfare, thus proving that they are not genociders, they are fighting a war. Even if they didn't have such a high precision rate, because they needed to use other weapons in order to attack Hamas, who have embedded themselves against the population, one would still have to look at what is their intent, who are they ultimately trying to target. It's the same way when President Trump and others talk about relocating the people of Gaza, saying we've tried for so long to live alongside them, and they just choose to elect Hamas, they choose jihad and genocide time and again, so perhaps we need to move them to another part of the world. And people say, well, that's genocide of a people. No. That's dealing with a security issue. Genocide would be, again, if they went in there and shot every single person. The question is simply, what are you trying to achieve? You're trying to deal with a security threat based on an unfair aggressor who simply wishes to annihilate you. That's very different to fighting a war where your intent is to kill every single person. That would be called genocide. What Israel's doing is not that.
Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.